industry for years to come. Natas already had a good idea of how we wanted it to feel, but creating the look of the shoe, as well as its advertising campaign, was a completely new experience for him.
We planted a seed, like, someone's got to think of that. Someone's got to think of every last thing and think about what it does when you see all these things and trying to figure it all out, I guess.
Natas brought his new skills and ideas to SMA, where he began laying out ads, designing graphics, and even managing the team.
We weren't skating the same way skating had been going on for years, so it made sense to kind of back that up with some artwork and just kind of get the whole attitude across.
The way I always saw it was Natas who kind of ran Santa Monica Airlines, you know, and it was gnarly. He'd go down to him and he'd take care of you and, you know, kind of tell you, here's what you're going to get for your board sales.
At the time, Natas had more influence on SMA than almost any other pro did over their sponsor. Realizing they could basically do whatever they wanted, Natas and Jim Thiebaud decided to do a U.S. tour by driving across country in a couple of used Cadillacs they bought. Enthusiastic to do things their own way, they planned 30 demos in 40 days across America. In their excitement, they'd also overlooked many of the logistical problems in planning the tour.
You know, the first Cadillac blew up in Vegas. We bought a stolen Cadillac.
We couldn't get hotel rooms. We'd have to stay in the most ghetto hotel room because no one was over 21.
The tour also included Julian Stranger, Mickey Reyes, and Alan Peterson. While in New York, they also discovered an amazing young powerhouse named Sean Sheffy, who joined the tour and would later ride for SMA. Although a bit disorganized, the Cadillac tour was a success and touched the lives of many up-and-coming skateboarders.
And at a demo, we're rail siding this box. Gino Iannucci is one of the kids holding up that box.
Despite all the excitement Natas and the team had generated on tour, they returned home to find that the 80s skateboarding boom had begun to fade. Undeterred, Natas continued to push SMA and himself to new levels. By the early 90s, skateboarding had followed the U.S. economy into a full-blown recession, and the companies that managed to survive were cutting way back. Natas began to feel that the effort he was putting into SMA wasn't quite paying off. At the same time, his friend and fellow pro skater, Steve Rocco, had just started World Industries. It was based on the ideal of keeping skateboarding creative and fun, and was completely run by skaters.
Now it's normal for skaters to run a company, but at the time it was some guys.
Seeing what Natas had achieved with SMA, Rocco offered him his own brand under World Industries with complete creative control.
For some reason, we just thought 101 Dalmatians was a great idea to name a company, just to kind of not be so serious about it. I think at the time we went to go register the name. Like, maybe it's not such a good idea. Like, let's just call it 101, or 101.
Over the next few years, 101 would become an incubator for Natas' artistic direction, as well as some of skateboarding's greatest talents. In 1992, Natas was finally at the helm of his own company and was still skating strong and was poised to establish 101 as a major brand. But a single injury would soon change all that.
The definite turning point was breaking my ankle, and I had to get an operation and got a plate put in.
You know, when we heard he broke his ankle and how bad it was devastating. It was just the way skating is too, you know. You cannot take it for granted.
You have a hard injury like that, getting older, it's hard to rebound. I was up for like a few months not skating, and at that time I bought a computer. It was a Mac 2 FX, top of the line, with a color monitor, a scanner, and a printer, and the whole thing was like 20 grand. And I just sat around drinking coffee and learning how to use it.
With a new creative outlet, Natas found himself redirecting his energy from skateboarding to design work. He sought opportunities to test his ideas, and was soon invited to work on a new magazine being launched by World Industries.
Natas worked on the very first Big Brother. The first thing we worked on together was this Adam McNatt piece, and it was just this really sort of arty photo essay, and he laid the whole thing out. It was really great. He had these great sketchbooks. You know, we would sometimes just scan those and put backgrounds. I don't know, he's constantly doing art.
His hands-on experience with 101 and Big Brother was an education in itself. But Natas' life and art began much earlier. Growing up in an artistic and eclectic community, his parents filled the house inside and out with sculpture, photography, and paintings. He was also influenced by local Santa Monica artists Wes Humpston and Kevin Ansell.
You know, he would want to draw, so we would help him draw. We'd show him stuff, and he used to love to come over to my garage where I used to live behind my folks' house. I used to do like stuff on boards for people.
Of course, it had all the great skulls and crosses and lightning bolts and wings. So that was great. Yeah, as a kid, I was fascinated by it.
Wesley was the original Dogtown skateboard guy, and he kind of passed it on to me. And then I kind of passed it on to Natas.
But Natas' influences weren't confined to the borders of Dogtown. With an early foundation in art and a keen interest in learning, he began to investigate other aspects of design.
Natas asked real questions and try to learn and absorb things.
Mofo was the first to tell me what art direction was. He used to work on the ads for Santa Monica Airlines. And so I really got an understanding of, as he was molding my image, basically, and the company's image. It got me really thinking, this is how everyone sees us because of him. And so I was like, okay, art direction.